Welcome back to another Robert's Reviews video. Today is the day. Today is the first ever Robert's Reviews show review. Today we are going to be reviewing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1. A little bit about how I'm going to be doing show reviews and how they are going to be a little different from movie reviews. I've decided I'm going to go season by season because it's easier and it'll make the video shorter, although this will probably be about 20 minutes long. In my brain, it's like 20 minutes long, which is really long, and I understand that. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch all 20 minutes of that. I really do appreciate it. It makes my channel look good, and it makes other people recommended to watch my videos. That being said, I am sorry about how lengthy this video is likely to be. But a little bit about the structure. I'm going to talk about the theme songs of each show. I probably won't do that season by season because most of the time I say the same, but if it changes, I'll let you know. I'm going to talk about all the actors. I'm not going to discuss the directors because they change like every single episode. And there's like 22 episodes per season of most things. So you can see me talking about the actors and the creators. Because I think that it's important to give the creators some recognition. And I will be talking about the series of events in the shows without being hopefully too spoilery. I can't promise anything. Later on down the road, like when we get to WandaVision, when that comes out, I will release a spoiler video and a non-spoiler video. But for now, since this came out in 2013, I'm not concerned about it. If you haven't seen it by now, you probably won't see it. Although hopefully I'll talk you into seeing this one because it's really good. So let's jump right in into the review for today. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 premiered in September of 2013 and continued until May of 2014. Was this on CBS or ABC? I think it was CBS. Don't mind if I Google while I tell you this stuff. But it was created by Jed Whedon, Joss Whedon, and Marissa Tancharoen. I'm very sorry, I probably pronounced that wrong. And then we have a variety of actors that I will be talking about. It is abc.com. It is ABC. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of the show first, which is going to take a long-ass time because this is a long-ass show and a lot of things happen. I'm going to have some spoilers, but it's not going to be super spoiler-heavy because I want you to go see it. So I'm going to leave some things at the end, a little surprise for you. To all my Marvel fans, if you haven't seen any of the TV shows, I recommend you do. A lot of them are very, very good. I haven't watched all of them yet, but I'm doing a marathon where I watch all of them. This is one of the shows that I had not seen yet. I had not seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I was scared because I didn't want it to be bad, and I no longer scared. I don't trust ABC because almost everything they've done is kind of meh for the Marvel stuff. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is very solid, and I recommend it. And let's jump right into what happens in Season 1. So Season 1 begins with Agent Phil Coulson, who we see in The Avengers. We see him get stabbed with a Jatari spear, and he dies, presumably. And essentially what happens is he is the highest-ranking officer or agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so what happens is he's in charge of creating this team that is supposed to go and basically clean up after the Avengers has their big fight in Avengers. Which is cool because the MCU lines up with the beginnings of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it lines up with a lot of the future seasons as well, but then they start to develop their own stuff, which is really cool. But I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a unique TV show because Marvel did a really cool thing where they converged media here. They talked about how they can move from, a movie to a TV show flawlessly. I mean, because this is its own thing with its own actors. They just brought one actor, which is Clark Gregg, who played Phil Coulson. And so, what happens basically is they have a group of people, which includes Agent Melinda May, Phil Coulson, Agent Gemma Simmons, Agent Leo Fitz, and newcomer Grant Ward onto the team. And I'll discuss who they are as I discuss the actors. I think it'll probably be best. And they are in charge of cleaning up the Extremis program stuff. So if you remember from Iron Man 3, there was a problem with the Extremis, where they injected the Extremis into people, which caused a lot of them to explode. The problem with Iron Man 3 is that they didn't explain what happened to the people who got it and didn't explode. This resolves that issue, where people just start exploding randomly if they are, exposed to some sort of radiation. And so the first task is to get one of the people that is infected with the Extremis, just to not explode. And that's pretty much what we see in the first episode. And we see who is eventually going to be Agent Daisy Johnson, who is actually right now called Skye. She is an orphan who runs a hacking program in the back of her van. And so she is hacking into S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff so she can see what's going on at all times. And then when Agent Phil Coulson sees this, he invites her to be part of the team because he thinks she'll be an asset. Everybody else hates this decision because she's a hacker. But as we see, she becomes a very important part of the team. But throughout the whole first season, even you feel kind of sketchy with her being on there because you want to feel sketchy because you're like, I don't know if I trust any of the people on this thing, but I especially don't trust Skye because she doesn't seem like the type of person that should be in a lawful group, because she's a hacker. She literally spends her time, not doing that, which is why I think the theme of the show goes over so well because you feel sketchy about everyone there, and eventually you come to know that somebody in the group is a traitor, and you have no idea who, and I'm not going to tell you who, because I want you to go see the show. Oh, I want you to see the show. I mean, I'm sure you'll find out when I release my second video on this series, season 2, because it's a big deal. But a person on the group is a traitor. And so that is episodes 1 through 7 basically discusses the Extremis program and how to fix that. It's a little slow and very, very confusing in the beginning, because they don't explain what the Extremis is doing there, which normally I would be fully okay with them not explaining it because I've seen Iron Man 3. But I was viewing it as an entirely separate identity. I was viewing it as somebody who wanted to watch a TV show, and this happened to be on, ABC, and you're like, okay, I'll watch this then. And I would recommend watch Iron Man 3 first, up to Iron Man 3, and then continue this. And I think it's important because it does coincide with so much. And I will explain that as we go along. Episodes 8 through 15 are unique because it coincides with Thor: The Dark World. What happens is Thor: The Dark World comes out, and then ABC is like, okay, well, we will make our next block of episodes about that then. And they basically go around the world trying to solve all these problems because, the portals opened up everywhere. You'll see this when I discuss Thor 2: The Dark World later on in the next couple weeks. But essentially, they go clean up that problem. Which is cool because it's basically... the show is so unique. Because the show literally just cleans up anything that they miss in the movies. Which can help the movies be a little shorter. Because, at the end of Thor 2: The Dark World, you're like, feel like there'd be some more consequences than what just happened. And there are. And it shows that. And it helps fix that. Which is why I think it's important that you watch this along with the MCU. It adds so much more to the actual universe. It is so unique. I love it. Anyway, past the distraction here. I have so much written down. I have so many notes on this. Basically, in that block of episodes, Deathlock is created. And this is this bad guy cyborg, pretty much. I'm not going to tell you who it is because it would spoil something. But somebody becomes a cyborg, and it is their job to basically figure out why this person is a cyborg, and fix him to a certain extent because he's being controlled by somebody called the Clairvoyant. I'm not going to tell you who that is either, because that would also be a spoiler. And so they are investigating who is Deathlock, how to solve the problem, and how to get to the Clairvoyant and stop the Clairvoyant from executing the Clairvoyant's mission, which I'm not going to say what the mission is either, because I don't want to spoil anything for you, because I'm imagining a lot of you have not seen this yet. It is on Netflix, so go watch it. It's really good. Anyway, at episode 17, that coincides with Captain America Civil War? No, the Winter Soldier. Sorry about that. It coincides with Captain America the Winter Soldier. And what the events of Winter Soldier appear is that Hydra has infiltrated, the government and S.H.I.E.L.D. and basically everything, and they kill Nick Fury. We'll go over that when we review that movie as well, but those of you that have watched it are understanding what I'm saying when we say that Hydra has infiltrated the files of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Phil Coulson, realizes that, and all of the files are now available to the public, as per the end of Winter Soldier. And it is their job to figure out who is still Hydra. Because while S.H.I.E.L.D. is still out in the open, and there is no more S.H.I.E.L.D. because we see Black Widow basically say there is no more S.H.I.E.L.D. because S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra. And you see a lot of really cool stuff happen in the show where, somebody on the team is part of Hydra. Not going to tell you who. Spoilers! So, I'm hoping that you go out and watch that. And at the end of the show, the traitor basically tries to kill other members of the team, and it gets really intense. The last, 4 episodes of this season, I watched straight through because I needed to. I liked it so much. Which is very, very, very different than the beginning, because in the beginning I watched it so slowly. I watched 1 episode a day, if that, because it was kind of boring, which is probably the only negative that I have. But before I talk about that, I actually want to talk about the actors first, before I discuss the overall feeling that I had with the plot. Oh, I forgot. The theme song. Theme song is really good. I enjoyed it. Bow, 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 bow. My friends probably hear me humming that quite often. What's cool about this theme is that it's very Marvel. When you listen to that, you're like, oh, that's from a Marvel movie for sure. It's not. It's not from a Marvel movie. It's from the Marvel TV show. But any listener that listens to that song would be like, that's probably a Marvel thing. Because it sounds very Marvel. Which is very different from other TV shows that we will view later on. All the Netflix TV shows have really amazing theme songs that are very not Marvel feeling. The Netflix series, I love them all. That's not true. I hated a couple of them. But we'll get to that later. This feels very Marvel. The one thing that I do regret is that they don't have an opening sequence where they show all the actors and they have a cool theme song in the background. Most intros to shows do, they straight up just have a dum dum, and then it shows Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on it. And then they roll the intro credits during the show, which gives the show a longer length of plot, where we can have more plot in the show because they don't have to cut 3 minutes for an intro, which I understand. I do understand why they did that. It just makes me sad because I love intros. I love intros to shows that make me want to watch them. Because there's always the option nowadays to just hit a button and skip the intro every time. Which for some shows, I do, because the intros are bad for some of them. This one, I feel like they could have done a really cool one, and they didn't, and I'm very sad. That's enough about the theme. Let's go to the actors. There's a lot of them. I'm only going to talk about the main team. I'm not going to talk about the bad guys, because I don't want to show who the bad guys are, because the bad guys are spoilers. Although there are, I guess, some bad people in this group, because at least one of them is a traitor. Anyway, we're already at the 15-minute mark. Let's move it along, Robert. Oh, God. So, first off, we have Clark Gregg. Clark Gregg was in the Avengers, and he plays Phil Coulson. The cool thing about Clark Gregg and Phil Coulson's character in general is that he was the overall tying arc in between all the films. Without Phil Coulson, there would be no straight, uh, bridge in between all the MCU movies. And it was very smart of Marvel to have a bridge, by the way. And you'll see that the Netflix shows also have bridges, more than the MCU, actually, which is really cool because I didn't know if that was going to work. It does work. And so it's nice to see him again. The reason they actually brought him back was because he was a fan favorite. The fans have seen, Phil Coulson since Iron Man. And so they're like, oh, wow, this guy's really cool. Oh, I love him a lot. Actually, I don't know if he was Iron Man. I actually don't think he was in the end credits for Iron Man. But anyway, we've seen him before. Actually, I think he was in credits of Iron Man 2 that we got to see him. Find out yourself. God. Anyway, fans loved him. Fans literally cried. I cried when Phil Coulson died in the Avengers. And so they're like, how can we bring him back? And they bring him back in this really cool way that I will not spoil. All we know is that Tahiti is a magical place. That is a line that is repeated, I think, literally like 100 times in the first season. And later in the season, you find out what Tahiti is. And it'll blow your freaking mind. I love it. Such a cool idea for the show. And I think you should watch it and find out what it is yourself. But essentially, it is how Agent Coulson is still alive. It's raining outside. Distractions. So that is Agent Phil Coulson. Wonderful job. I mean, he's got this way of dominating a room with a quiet voice. He's got the voice like, oh yeah, no, I'm the leader here. And like Tony Stark's like, I'm the leader here, and Phil Coulson's like, I'm the leader here, and you follow Phil Coulson. Like he's got the stage presence of like, wow, I want to watch more of this guy, and we do get to watch more of this guy. Thank God, I love this guy. Chloe Bennett is new to the scene as Skye. And the cool thing about Skye is that she's an orphan. She doesn't actually know her real name until the end of the series. And she's a hacker. So she lives in a van, and she literally just hacks all the time. She runs a group through social media that hacks things, and she gets paid for it, which is pretty cool. And so she's super like geeky and good with computers. She can do anything with computers. Everyone on the team has a special thing. And hers is computers. She's very, very good with computers. And so we get to see a lot of that, and it's pretty cool. I didn't like her at first. I like her more in the more recent seasons I've watched. I still have not watched all 7 seasons. I am going to be starting season 5 in about 2 weeks. But I like her later in the series more than I do at the beginning of the series. At the very beginning of the series, I didn't like her almost at all. But as we progress, you learn to like her more. But you never trust her. I mean, I don't trust anybody in this team, if I'm honest with you, until the 2nd season. Which is so cool how they could make you do that. How can you make protagonists that you don't trust and make it a good, successful series? Marvel, I love you. Anyway, Brett Dalton is Grant Ward, and arguably had one of the best performances in the entire series. I mean, he's so cool. His special thing is brute force. He's basically a special agent who knows how to really hurt people, which is really cool to see. I mean, I like people that can do that. I like watching people that can do that, which is why I like the Punisher so much. They're very different. They're not the same at all. But same basic idea. And Grant Ward is another new recruit to the team. And he's an outside hire, and he's really great. He is really, 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 really cool. I like his character a lot, and I think that he portrays his character in this season and other seasons very well. Wow. I mean, I don't want to get into details, because we're already at the 19-minute mark. But he has to have such... Spoilers. He's got to have an ability to change. His character changes so much over like 4 seasons, it'll blow your freaking mind. Like, you need to go watch this and just pay attention to his performance and how it changes. It's so cool. Wow, it's so cool. Ming Na is Agent Melinda May. Melinda May is my least favorite person on the team. And that's because she's kind of dry, kind of boring. But she has a backstory that is released as you go along. I don't actually remember when we talk about it. I think they talk about it in season 2. More. and it's a really cool, really cool backstory. She's kind of okay. All of her lines are delivered with such a monotone thing, which I think is an acting choice. Which means I should think that she's good. I just think that I don't really like the character very much, which is fine. I don't have to like every character, and it's not going to bring my rating down any because there were still some really cool moments where we had Agent May kicking ass. Um, but she's way better in season 2, and then I think she actually trails off a little bit more as we go on. But we're gonna move on. I didn't write down anything. Damn it! This is gonna take forever to edit. Anyway, Elizabeth Henstridge plays Agent Gemma Simmons. In the first show in particular, we just hear her as Simmons. They call her by their last name because she is a doctor. She focuses on the biology of things. She's very good with life stuff. She can heal people pretty easily. It's really cool. She's super smart, wicked smart, and awesome. And I love her character. And her character is so good in every season. Every season, it also changes. I mean, the performances of a lot of these people change over the time because the scenarios change every time. And this is one that I think was really good. I think that Elizabeth Henstridge did a really, really good job as Simmons. Moving on, because time. 21, 25. Ian D. Kaystecker. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right, but I know that he's like Irish. So probably like, I am the Kaystecker. I don't know. I'm not good at stuff. My favorite character in the whole show, as Leo Fitz. We hear him as Fetz because that is his last name, and he is also a doctor. He is more on the lines of like engineering, more so than biology, but he does a lot of stuff with like electronics. He's really good with electronics, not computers, but electronics. And so he and Simmons get together a lot to work on a lot of special stuff, and they develop almost a romantic relationship, which we'll see more in the other future seasons, but it's really important, so make sure you're watching for that. One thing about Fetz and Simmons is that throughout the first season, they combined are referred to as Fitzsimmons. This was confusing as hell for me trying to learn character names in the first 4 episodes. Wow, I actually was really annoyed when I found out what it was. They say go get Fitzsimmons because they are a pair. They want the electronics person and the biology people. They want the doctors, which is fine. But when you say Fitzsimmons, I think it's a whole other character. Because when they're talking about them individually, they're like, okay, there's Gemma, there's Leo. Actually, I don't even think they call him Leo. They call him Leopold most of the time that they're addressing him by himself, except for Fitz. He is more known as Fitz. But anyway, whenever you hear Fitzsimmons, know that they're talking about both Gemma Simmons and Leopold Fitz. Which is really confusing in the beginning of the series. I don't know why they decided that was a good idea, but I'm not mad. I'm a little mad. I'm not gonna kill myself over it, but I am a little annoyed about it. It didn't take too much away from the whole series, but it did take away from my distraction for a while. Anyway, this is a real long video. Let me talk about my thoughts, and then we will be done. My thoughts about the show. Fantastic show. It is my second least favorite season, though. I think this gets better as it goes along. I think season 2 might have been a little bit worse than this one. But I don't know for sure. I'll have to think about it. But it is important that you watch. It's really raining outside. It is really important that you watch it, though, because then you can get to watch the later seasons. You can't just jump in later seasons. You'll be very confused. So I would recommend getting a jump start, watching this series, because it's very good. It's 16 hours, though, which is really long. It took me a month to watch this, because I was busy with school and work and stuff. But definitely worth it. I liked it a lot. I just think that the overall idea of being able to connect the MCU and make it more broad by including TV shows and including such phenomenal actors and great screenwriting, great directing, and there's only a couple things I didn't like, such as the beginning of a series where it was very confusing and very long, which is the only reason why I'm going to have to give this, unfortunately, an A-. I would give this an A, except that the beginning was a little slow, and I think that they could have picked it up the pace a little bit more, particularly around the beginning few episodes, and also made it less confusing for viewers when we were first kicking off the series, because I think they're assuming that their audience knows everything, which they should, because they should have watched, the beginning MCU movies. But even I, who had watched them 10 times already, I still was a little confused because of all the new characters that they assume that we know already, but we don't. So make sure you watch this show. There's a lot of surprises, lots of twists, turns, maybe some cameos from famous actors. But yeah, make sure you give this a watch. Really, really solid show. I hope you liked my first ever TV show review. It is very long. It's going to take me forever to edit, and I'm very sorry if this took so long. But I hope you watch all of it, because the longer you watch my videos, the more likely they are to be recommended to others on their homepage. So make sure you watch all of this. I know it's long. Put it in the background. Listen to me as a podcast if you want. And I really do enjoy talking to you guys and getting to share my opinions on things. It gives me something to look forward to every day. So make sure you watch that, watch the whole thing, watch the show. It's really, really good. And comment down below if there's anything you want me to review. I can do shows and stuff. Shows will take me longer to do because I have to watch all of them. Tune in on Halloween week, where I will be doing a lot of stuff. There also will hopefully be a special surprise on Monday, the 26th, when I show my first Halloween video. There might be something added that you weren't expecting that I'm hoping you're going to like a lot. So make sure you do that. Comment, like, subscribe, please. Tell everyone to subscribe. Share everything on Facebook. Join the Facebook group. Comment in the link down below. And as always, just keep watching films, and I'll see you in the next video.